Hello, everybody, and welcome to Freedom Through Artistry, a virtual poetry event that we have created in celebration of Juneteenth. My name is Willie Dennis III, and I am the co-owner of and publisher for the Black Ink Coalition. And I'm joined here today with our partner in this venture, Ms. Paula Webb. Ms. Paula is with USA Library Art Galleries, and she's going to help us conduct this session today. We have some very interesting poets that we're going to be talking with and hearing their poetry. And I'm going to share some things with you as well. So I look forward to talking with and sharing all this information with everybody. So I hope that you enjoy. All right, so please welcome our first author, Mr. Willie Dennis III. Excuse me, Willie Dennis Jr. Not Willie Dennis III. His hometown is Mobile, Alabama, and the cause he's going to be supporting today is the Black Coalition. Well, hello. How are you today, Dad?
Good evening. How are we doing? Yes. Well, yourself?
Very good. I'm doing all right.
Okay, good. I'm going to read a poem from the little poetry book I completed. The name of the poetry book is Thoughts, and the poem I'm going to read today is called Remember.
All right.
I remember the feel of your heart, the touch of your soul, the feel of your body. I remember. I remember the days and nights that the earth stood still as my arm held you close. I remember. I remember the journey to a place close to heaven as we stood and watched the world about. I remember. I remember the future dreams and life to look forward to. I remember. I remember the things accomplished when two work as one, for a strong foundation was built and made, and things cannot be taken away. This too is true. I remember. I remember the world and life has many bumps and bruises, but love, true love, will kiss and hold tight. I remember this. I remember. Thank you.
That is a beautiful poem. That is one of my favorites of yours. Now you are a published author, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
And where can folks get your material at?
Well, it's online. It can be ordered through Amazon. It can be ordered through. I'm not quite sure anymore. The pandemic hit us. We kind of shorthanded on a lot of things, but it can be reached online.
In a few places.
Yeah. But you are the author of all the publications in there. That you should be able to tell them where they can get it from.
Yes, and so your publications are available on Amazon.com, at your website, DennisUniverse.com, and also available on several other published sites such as excuse me, Books A Million and Barnes & Noble. So you are in several places.
Well, thank you for that.
All right. Thank you for sharing. I hope that we'll have you come back in just a little while. All right. Thank you.
Several more I'd like to share.
All right. Well, so we'll have you come back in just a little while. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Our next author is the Barefooted Poet. Her hometown is Mount Vernon, Alabama. And the cause that she supports is Spoken Word of Mobile. How are you today, Ms. Barefoot? Good. Would you like to share a little bit with us about Spoken Word of Mobile?
Spoken Word of Mobile, it's a poetry group that we've been in existence about 20 years now, going on 21 years. Say Jones was she started the group up, and we usually meet every third Monday at 6 o'clock at the Tomaville Library. But since the pandemic, we have not been meeting. We had over a year, but we still gonna be going strong. We're still going strong.
And those are some fun Monday nights. I got to tell you, I've been there a few times.
Yes, they are. They are.
I love what y'all do. Y'all definitely inspired me, and I appreciate it. That's why I wanted to make sure that this was open to all members of Spoken Word. And so hopefully next time we'll have even more members of Spoken Word in Mobile, and I'm looking forward to that. I definitely am. And so what poem are you going to be reading for us today, Miss Dolores, Miss Barefoot Poet?
Well, I think I'm going to start with Langston Hughes' poem, Mother to Son.
All right. That sounds fantastic. Let me let you do your thing.
Well, son, I tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal staff. It had its tacks in it, its splinters, its bowls torn up, places with no carpet on the floor, bare. All's the time I've been climbing on, reaching landings and turning corners, so going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So, boy, don't you turn back now. Don't you sit down on them steps called kind of hard. Don't you fall now. Well, I still going, honey. I still climbing on. Life for me ain't been no crystal staff. Hello?
I love that poem. That is amazing. I love that. I love the way that you read it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So who are some of your favorite poets? Of course, you are one of my favorite poets, but who are some of your favorites?
Of course, Maya Angelou. And I love Langston Hughes. I love Langston Hughes. Paul Laurence Dunbar, some of the older poets.
It's powerful stuff.
So if you get a chance, I'll be doing a couple of those this evening.
Excellent. So I would love to have you back in just a little while here.
Okay.
We'll have another speaker come on. Thank you so much. That was awesome. All right, so please welcome our next poet, Mr. Hiram Ether. He is a spoken word artist, and his hometown is Fairhope, Alabama. How are you, Hiram? The cause he is going to talk about very quickly today is the Step to the Bite Poetry Troupe. How are you doing, Hiram? All right, and so it's been a minute since I've seen you.
Well, yeah, I thought I had it under control.
It's all good.
Yeah.
As long as we can hear, that's the main.
It's always good to be among you guys. You know, you have a good spirit about you. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Hiram. I appreciate that.
Yes.
I just try to make things happen for other people in our community.
Yeah, I'm a part of the Step to the Mic Poetry Troupe. It's I was part of the Step to the Mic Poetry Troupe, the largest group in poetry troupe in the nation, for what I understand. So it's good to be a part of that. We have shows every I think it's every second Saturday at the House of Vibes Wellness and Hallsville Road in Mobile. So if you ever want to come through and be entertained, just put it for you. Yes, I am. I'm an author. I have 3 books. Matter of fact, I'm kind of sitting in my makeshift office right now. I was actually sitting here, getting out here to sit in the makeshift office. Okay, sitting in my makeshift office, trying to getting some stuff together to type up. Even right now as we speak, I have 3 books, which they are a trilogy. I got 1 more to put in the set officially. They are The Ancestral Children, Immortal Love, and Rogue Guardian Angels. They're triple. They are around the astral spirituality system. It is fictional, of course, and it's definitely my passion. And that is that's kind of that.
And it's definitely all over you, Hiram. So it's always a pleasure to hear you speak.
Okay, and I have
what poem are you going to read? What poem are you going to read for us
right now? Original. poem is called Poetic Grace. One of the things that's gotten me by is the reciting divine rhymes. I've not jobs despite the now hiring sign outside several times. Poetic Grace. Excuse me. Yeah, Poetic Grace is an original poem that I written for an occasion. I think it was a year ago, but then COVID came and I wasn't able to do it. So I only recited it a couple times publicly since then. One of the things that's gotten me by is the reciting of divine rhymes. I've been denied jobs despite now hiring sign outside several times, but I managed to survive. A way was made to eat. I maintained 4 walls of roof with heat that scattered these whole streets, and somewhere in between, I discovered the gifts. That gave me direction after being adrift up the river from certainty. My misalignment with my destiny was the catalyst of my soul searching. I scraped the bottom of the barrel to rediscover my soul purpose. I got the majority of my wisdom when the world deemed me worthless. People who told me they loved me verbally feed me curses, but not only did I survive the trials, but I survived in style, arrived in style standing taller than I ever have before. This little light of mine is shining way too bright to ignore. The enemy thought that they won and will burn to death when they watch me receive my blessings and everything that I have in store. Trust me when I say I've been humble. Please don't take this as boasting. I'm always being reassured and not a promise was broken. The same can't be said about the chains that restrain. Not a struggle was in vain, and that's as sure as how I miss my name. Yes, this is my testament. Resting in the divine's presence, taking in the divine's medicine, and walking through fires with energizing and weary, changing the narratives of misery. It's not just in the words, but it's supported by the delivery. What he told me during our discourse, not only pray that you recognize the good shepherd. Let not your heart be troubled. When your good seasons, they just have to be done to make way for your new beginnings. Thank you.
Thank you, Hiram. That is just fantastic. I'm telling you, so much power, and it's very relevant to what many people are going into today. It's very contemporary. I always love how you put that contemporary point on it to make sure it can relate to the guy right next door and the person that's sitting right next to you. I always love that.
Yes,
it's fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
We're going to have you come on again. We're going to have you come on again and share another poem with us.
Okay.
If you'd be willing to do that. All right. Excellent. And so we're going to go on to.
I'm more than happy to. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to go on to our next poem. So just give me just a second.
All right.
Thank you, Hiram. All right. Our next poet is Queen Black, the poetess. One of my favorites. Her hometown is Daphne, Alabama. And the causes that she supports are Spoken Word of Mobile and the Black on Black Rhyme Poetry Troupe. How are you today, Queen Black? So thank you so much for joining us today. I know that you have a lot on your plate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm okay. Go ahead.
I won't keep you long because I don't want to start messing up again.
That's what happens.
I am an author. My name is Ashley Waller. Crown the Glory of God. You can get it on lulu.com. And the title of my poem today is going to be I Am the Voice. This poem highlights things that our ancestors went through and things that we're going through today. I am the voice. I am the voice of my ancestors that died screaming. as they drowned by the waves because they refused to be slaves. This was not a cruise ship, but life-changing. From chains to whips, being gunned down by bullet tips. No, this was not a paradise trip. I am the voice of the strange fruit that hung from the tree. I am the voice of my Black people that's been gunned down in the streets. I am the voice of the little girls that blow it up in Birmingham church that Sunday. I am the voice of Emmett Till, life robbed at 14 before he could really live. I am the voice of the mothers, fathers, and children that were snatched apart. I am the voice of the lovers that wasn't able to mend their hearts. Love wasn't so easy in these parts. The woman you may have loved could have been the apple of master's eyes. Made to live in a big house, causing you to despise. Rape after rape, still having to fix his dinner plate, only being able to dream of a love they could have freely. Maybe master allowed some to marry, but they knew that as soon as they jumped the broom, at any given time, he can sell them, separating them from their family. We must stop taking love freely for granted. Being able to have children without fear of them being auctioned away. Being able to go to the store without being beaten or hung to our graves for not having masters pass that day. Those are the dreams that our ancestors had for us. I am that voice to tell you to wake up. We were created in the image of God. We have dominion over the earth. I am that voice to tell you to rise. Sing your song, read your read, dance your dance, play your drums, learn about your culture, pray to your God freely. I am the voice sent to you from the souls buried deep that dreamed of you living freely. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
I just wanted to say that during this time, let's just think of ways that we can give back to our community. We can be creative. If you know how to write, you can have a writing workshop. You can, you know how to paint or do art. You can have an art workshop with the children. I'm gonna start having interview workshops. You'll be surprised that people just need, proper interview protocol and dress attire. So let's just get creative at giving back to our community.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. Fantastic message all around, Queen Black. And I always love how you present with so much power and conviction. It just drives right into me. Makes me want to cry. It's so powerful. Beautiful, beautiful poem. Beautiful poem. And you're getting applause from the audience. I got lots of people that are sharing their applause. So I just want to thank you so much. So do you think you can come back and read another one for us in a little while here?
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully we won't have too many technical problems, although we'll be on a break in a little while, but sometimes things happen. So
okay. Okay. It's okay.
So we just have to expect the unexpected at times. So I appreciate your patience. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing that amazing poem. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. Our next presenter is Miss Claudia Keevy. She's an author. Her hometown is Slidell, Louisiana. And her cause is the Keevy family. And I want to be sure to welcome her on board. Hello, Miss Claudia.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Excellent, excellent. I'm so happy to see you. I'm so glad you could make it.
Thank you for inviting me.
I think we're going to have a good time. So Miss Claudia, I know that we have a couple of things we're going to do. I would like to go ahead and do our special reading that is programmed for this time. So that will be the Emancipation Proclamation. And so I want you to go ahead and feel free to present that as you have prepared it for us. And then I will have some words to say after that.
Okay, I'm going to read Emancipation Facts first, a couple of facts, and then I'll go into reading the Emancipation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let me show you your thing.
President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, as the nation approached its third year of bloody civil war. The proclamation declared that all persons held as slaves within the rebellious states are and henceforward shall be free. Although the Emancipation Proclamation did not end slavery in the nation, it did capture the hearts and imagination of millions of Americans and fundamentally transformed the character of the war. After January 1st, 1863, every advance of federal troops expanded the domain of freedom. Moreover, the proclamation announced the acceptance of Black men into the Union Army and Navy, enabling the liberated to become liberators. By the end of the war, almost 200,000 Black soldiers and sailors had fought for the Union and freedom. Now I'll go into the proclamation. Whereas on the 22nd day of September, in the year of our Lord 1862, a proclamation was issued by the President of the United States, containing, among other things, the following, to wit, that on the first day of January, in the year of our Lord 1863, all persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state, the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States, shall be then, thenceforward, and forever free. And the executive government of the United States, including the military and naval authority thereof, will recognize and maintain the freedom of such persons, and will do not act or act to repress such persons or any of them in any efforts they may make for their actual freedom. That the executive will, on the first day of January, aforesaid, by proclamation, designate the states and parts of states, if any, in which the people thereof respectively shall then be in rebellion against the United States, and the fact that any state or the people thereof shall on that day be, in good faith, represented in the Congress of the United States by members chosen thereto at elections wherein a majority of the qualified voters of such state shall have participated, shall, filling testimony, be deemed conclusive evidence that such state and the people thereof are not then in rebellion against the United States. Now, therefore, I, Abraham Lincoln, President of the United States, by virtue of the power in me vested as Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy of the United States in time of actual armed rebellion against the authority and government of the United States, and as a fit and necessary war measure for suppressing said rebellion, do on this first day of January in the year of our Lord 1863, and in accordance with my purpose so to do publicly, proclaimed for the full period of 100 days, from the day first above mentioned, order and designate as the states and parts of states, wherein the people thereof, respectively, are this day in rebellion against the United States, the following to wit: Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, except the parishes of St. Bernard, Plaquemines, Jefferson, St. John, St. Charles, St. James, Assumption, Terrebonne, Le Fourchet, St. Mary, St. Martin, and Orleans, including the city of New Orleans, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia, except the 48 counties designated as West Virginia, and also the counties of Berkeley, Accomack, Northampton, Elizabeth City, York, Princess Anne, and Norfolk, including the cities of Norfolk and Portsmouth, and which accepted parts are for the present left precisely as if this proclamation were not issued. And by virtue of the power and for the purpose aforesaid, I do order and declare that all persons held as slaves within said designated states and parts of states are and henceforward shall be free, and that the executive government of the United States, including the military and naval authorities thereof, will recognize and maintain the freedom of said persons. And I hereby enjoin upon the people so declared to be free to abstain from all violence, unless in necessary self-defense. And I recommend to them that, in all cases when allowed, they labor faithfully for reasonable wages. And I further declare and make known that such persons of suitable condition will be received into the armed services of the United States to garrison forts, positions, stations, and other places, and to man vessels of all sorts in said service. And upon this act, sincerely believed to be an act of justice, warranted by the Constitution upon military necessity, I invoke the considerate judgment of mankind and the gracious favor of Almighty God. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the United States to be affixed. Done at the city of Washington this first day of January, in the year of our Lord 1863, and of all the independence of the United States of America, the 87th, by the President Abraham Lincoln.
Absolutely fantastic. And he was not kidding in his words. Those words are extremely powerful, all the way down, all the way down. And so granting freedom to those that were enslaved, and specifically pointing out the states that were not in compliance at that time already, and then empowering those that needed to join the military services to be able to do so. So all positions were granted. They were made citizens, released from enslavement, excuse me, and then pinpointed where problems were. These were very, very powerful words. Ms. Claudia, thank you so much for bringing that to us. I appreciate you taking the time to look into that. I really do. And I hope that you can do a presentation for us a little bit later.
Look forward to it.
Very good. I'm excited about that because I'm all excited about everybody's presentation today. All right. So I am going to give a few things. Thank you so much. So I'm going to share some just another Juneteenth fact with you, and then I'm going to read some information for you. So the Juneteenth Proclamation is also known as General Military Order Number 3. And this proclamation transmitted the news of the Emancipation Proclamation to the residents of the state of Texas and freed all remaining enslaved people in the state. As I said before, slavery was still pretty much going on even up to 1865 in the state. So the general order was issued by Union General Gordon Granger on June 19, 1865 at Ashland Villa upon arriving at Galveston, Texas. Now, this was more than a month after the formal end of the American Civil War and 2 years, mind you, after the original issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation. The announcement and Granger's enforcement of the order is the central event commemorated by the holiday of Juneteenth, which originally celebrated the end of slavery in Texas. I apologize, I'm slurring my words, getting a little bit too excited there. So what I want to do is I want to share with you what that Juneteenth proclamation was. It was fairly straightforward. It was very simple. And so this is a reason for having the first Juneteenth. So the proclamation reads, Military Order Number 3. The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves. And the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. The freedmen are advised to remain quietly at their present homes and work for wages. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect at military posts and that they will not be supported in idleness either or elsewhere. General Order Number 3, Headquarters District of Texas, Galveston, June 19, 1865. So this is the catalyst that creates the event of June 19th. As I mentioned before, we had celebrated Emancipation Day widely. January 1st was known as an Emancipation Day a long time, a couple of years. Then we have this June 19th event, and it basically fires off for everyone to realize that freedom has come, that it had come in a fantastic way. While it is unfortunate that it took a longer time for it to reach those people in Texas, they wasted no time with taking action and getting the celebration put together. I have some more facts I'm going to share with you in just a little while. I want to share some Juneteenth facts for you through this presentation that we have today and just a little bit of information. And I'm going to just share a couple of things with you at the moment. So Juneteenth is directly connected to the Emancipation Proclamation in that it would nearly take 2 years for all of those enslaved to learn of their freedom. Once the proclamation was known, excuse me, it was after January 1st, 1863 that the day was celebrated as Emancipation Day. So originally Emancipation Day was January 1st after 1863. Now, once all learned of their freedom in June of 1865, the June 19th date was also celebrated as Emancipation Day, a day to celebrate freedom. Why did it take so long? So we have the Juneteenth Proclamation, and Juneteenth is the holiday commemorating the day of news of emancipation reaching the enslaved people of Galveston, Texas in 1865. It is celebrated annually by many African Americans across the United States, and the day took place 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, as I said before, January 1st, 1863. Before federal troops arrived in Galveston on June 19th, 1865, to announce that all enslaved were freed, slavery had remained relatively uninterrupted in Texas. You know that. All right, so we're going to roll around to another author. We're going to start some of our repeat reads. And again, I have Mr. Willie Dennis Jr. He is an author and a poet. He is my dad. His hometown is Mobile, Alabama, and the cause he supports is the Black Ink Coalition. And I thank you for your patience. How are you doing?
Okay, thank you. How is everyone once again? I'm glad to be back. And do have another poem I'd like to read, and I appreciate being on the program today.
And I thank you for being able to join us. That is really important.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
All right, and we have several other people in the room so they can show their appreciation for your work. So what poem are you going to read for us now?
Well, I thought maybe since we're having a weather issue, some people blocked out, I'll read one that's called Raining.
All right, let me let you do your thing.
Okay. Raining. Love, it's raining outside. And my mind went to cozy things, like holding you in my arms, like kissing you twice, just cozy things. Love, it's raining outside, which makes me feel lightheaded and gay. And I think of you this day. Love, It's raining outside, and the idea of rain falling makes me feel happy and joyous. Be my happiness, my most joyous moments are with you. The moments I've spent with you. Love is raining outside. Kind of short. I think it's kind of sentimental. And since I have a few more minutes, I can read another. Let's see what I got here. This one is called Because. Because your heart should know that I am the one that stands by you when sick or well. Because your heart should know I say a prayer for you each and every night. Because your heart should know I am the person that belongs by your side. Because your heart should know that together we are blessed. Because your heart should know that I want you for my love for life. Because your heart should know I love you in my arms. You make me whole. Because your heart should know that it's not what I do or what you do, is what we do together. Because your heart should know that love is from the Lord, and the Lord has brought us together with love.
Awesome. They're both really fantastic. I'm always very happy to hear those poems. The Raining poem is just so inspirational. It just settles. I don't know. It just sends such a strong message to me. And I like it because, you know, although you're in that moment of when it should be bad weather, you're actually celebrating. You're celebrating.
Yeah, I always like the rain. The rain is always good. Healthy Lord has blessed us with the rain, and things of flowers grow, the grass grows, and everything blooms. So the rain is also important.
All right. And it's just really, really, it's just really great. And like I said, it's just such an inspiring poem. All right. Now, have you been wondering why it's so important to have red for Juneteenth? It's because it goes all the way back to some of our African cultures. Red foods and beverages are staples of the commemorative of the day. Often the backyard barbecue, which is why I want to have Miss Dreams Poet speak, and with red velvet cakes and strawberry pies. And you can often find crimson-dyed hot links, strawberry soda, watermelon, and hot sauce, as well as hibiscus tea at Juneteenth celebrations. So when your kids are asking for that strawberry soda and it's only February, well, not only are they celebrating Black history, but they're also celebrating Juneteenth. So it's highly appropriate for them to have that.